All right, for our last video in this series, and I know that's disappointing to some people. I've already received the comments on that. There's so many other books that either clarify rules or add ships or add force powers or whatever. Fully understand that. Fully understand that. Somebody just put in the comments on the live stream here, the Star Wars Timeline site now hosts the main rule books for D6 Star Wars again. So there you go. You can get the rules for the game. I'm not sure which edition it is, if it's first edition or second edition, but doesn't matter. They're all fun, even if I prefer first edition. Go check out the books, and you're going to get all the information you want. Go buy some Corsair books. Go buy some Imperial Starship books. Go get. There's a ton of information. It's Star Wars. This book is just meant to get you started. So we talked about how to make a character. We talked about how to handle basic combat. We looked over a weapon, a heavy blaster. We've talked about starship rules and starship combat. Now, last thing we need to cover in order for you to have a game is the Force. And that's what we're going to look at in this video. All right, we got the book. And what page is the Force on? Force is on, it starts on 15.
64.
So this book is broken into player section and game master section. Most of what we're going to be talking about is the game master section, but here's the player section that we skipped originally about the Force. The Force is the mystical power which binds all things together and sustains life. Yes, it is duct tape. All starting characters have one or more force points. Now, notice that. All starting characters have one or more force points. But I'm not force sensitive. We haven't even talked about force sensitive yet. That might not even be in this edition of the game. I don't know. I know in the editions I played, you had to select whether you're force sensitive or not, and that had implications for your characters. But they still had force points. So everybody starts with one force point at the bottom of your little template that we showed off in the first video. At any point during the game, you can tell your game master, I'm trusting to the Force. Can somebody please go to an English class? That means you're attempting to use your luck, moxie, or control. The Force manifests in mysterious ways to make sure that what you want happens. Yes, I changed that word on purpose. You can only trust to the Force as many times as in an adventure as you have force points. At the end of an adventure, the game master may award you additional force points. For example, a character has 3 force points. He can trust to the Force 3 times in an adventure. When you trust to the Force, you know they're beating you in with this horrible English so many times that it becomes normalized. That's why they're doing this. When you trust to the Force, your chance of doing what you want to do increase dramatically. For the round in which you spend the point, all skill and attribute codes are doubled. All for the round. That means you can do many more things in the round, or you can be virtually certain of doing one thing which you want badly to succeed in doing. Oh, we're back to Rourke. God, I hate that name. If Rourke spends a force point, his blaster skill for the round is 10d plus 2, his dodge is 8d plus 2, his tactical attribute is 4d plus 4, etc. Where'd you get those numbers from? I think the second video. When you trust the Force, one of 4 things will happen. If you trust the Force to do evil, you lose the force point. It is permanently lost. Wah, wah, wah. In addition, you gain a dark side point. Each time you gain a dark side point, there's a chance your character will turn to the dark side. Since all player characters are members of the rebellion. What? Since when? Lame.
I think since page 1.
Probably. We skipped that part. Since all player characters are a member of the rebellion, if you turn to the dark side, you lose your character. The game master will take him away from you and use him as a villain. That's right. Remember, I tell this to people in all the games, whether I'm running Dungeons & Dragons or whatever, your character is not yours. Your character is what you play, but your character belongs to me in my world. Right here, it's also in black and white. The game master will take him away from you and use him as a villain. Correct. You have to create a whole new character. If you trust the Force in a way that's neither particularly heroic nor evil, you lose the force point, but you don't gain a dark side point. So let's look at Rourke here. He's hit by a laser cannon, fears that he'll be mortally wounded. He spends a force point to double his strength roll. Saving your own bacon is not really heroic, but neither is it evil. Rourke loses the force point, but gains no dark side points. All right. If you trust to the Force in a heroic way to save others or defeat evil, you do not lose the force point. At the end of the adventure, you get the force point back. So you lose it temporarily, but at the end of the adventure, you get it back. So you can use the Force again on the next adventure. So if you had 3 Force points, you're still only using 3 this adventure. Okay.
Yeah, I think a good way to think about it is do something cool. Don't just do something, to get an advantage. Is how I would kind of describe this to people. Like if it's cool, if it's moving the story along, if it's showing you as a hero, that's a good way to use a Force point. You're trying to be bad, or it's just like, oh, I just want to save my own bacon.
I don't think there's anything wrong with saving your own bacon, unless what you did was arbitrarily stupid.
I mean, why are you getting targeted by a blaster cannon?
And I'm going to spend the Force points shooting with a blaster cannon.
Right.
From my ship, from my Death Star. Sir, we've got the planet in range. No. I want that guy. Sir, this is the Death Star. I'm Vader, man. I got Force points up the wazoo.
Come on, fire up that main cannon.
Right? Sir, we actually don't have to hit him directly. No, I want you to hit him directly.
I realize we're taking out the planet. I just wanted him to know that he went first.
All right, where are we here? Let's see. If you trust in the Force in a heroic way to save others or defeat evil, you do not lose the Force point. At the end of the adventure, you get the Force point back, so you can use. Okay, we already said that. If you trust in the Force in a heroic and dramatically appropriate way, at the climax of the adventure, to do a mighty deed, not only to get the Force point back at the end of the adventure, but the Game Master may award you another point as well. Notice it says may there, so stop begging. But I did something dramatic. Shut up, you're not getting another Force point. Or, you know what, you're right. Here's another Force point. Excuse me. How do you think that guy had 3 at the beginning of the scenario anyway? Because he did some dramatic stuff and he got bonuses. The Game Master decides when an action is evil, heroic, or dramatically appropriate. All right, the powers of the Force. Most characters don't have any ability to use the Force to control minds and bodies, levitate objects, etc. If yours does, 1 or more Force skills are listed on your character template. If no Force skills are listed, you don't need to read this section. Goodbye. Go away. The Jedi Code, because why not? Characters with Force skills must follow a strict code. If you fail to do so, you may gain dark side points. Most characters can only gain dark side points when they trust to the Force. Jedi characters gain them anytime they do evil. Notice the difference. If you're Han Solo, you can be a douche nozzle and not worried about getting dark side points. A Jedi, anytime, and you get a dark side point. So you're a Jedi. Let's see what your dumb code says. You may not kill except in self-defense and defense of others. You may not act for personal gain, wealth, or power. You must never act from hatred, anger, fear, or aggression. Sounds lame to me. Oh, that's it. Okay, well, I mean, it's not too bad, I guess. I was waiting for more. Like you have to tithe or something. Lightsabers. This is one of the weirdest aspects about this game. I love it, but I never understood where they got the idea from. A lightsaber is a melee weapon, but you use it with your lightsaber skill, not your melee weapon skill. Unlike other melee weapons, a lightsaber's damage does not depend on your strength code, but on your control skill code, which we'll look at in a moment. You can parry with a lightsaber. You either use your melee parry skill or your force sense skill, if you have that skill. Obviously, you use whichever skill is better. Okay, where's the part in here where other people can't use lightsabers? Oh, maybe that's in the Game Master section. All right, so here are the 3 main powers: control, sense, and alter. Everything when it comes to Force powers falls into one of those: control, sense, or alter. So what are control skills?
Real quick, Max, what was it that you didn't understand about lightsabers?
No, there's a, I can't remember if it's in the Game Master section here, but it basically says that other characters can't use lightsabers, and if they try to do it, they like cut their feet off and so forth.
Well, I mean,
so Han Solo used one. I don't want to hear it.
No, no, hold on. I think it's talking. I think it's mostly just talking about combat. Okay, because again, you have a weightless blade of pure energy. So I swear I read somewhere that the justification is that like a normal person, somebody who is not a force wielder, can't tell where the blade is. So you're trying to swing.
No. I get that portion of it. We'll see if it says it here. That might have been a second edition. We'll see if it says it here and what the penalty is. The penalty I remember was like you can't use it, and if you try to pick it up and you don't have like a 25 in your dexterity, you're going to cut off your toes. Like it was something really ridiculous.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't go with that. Like I mean, if you want to do Han Solo and cut open the tauntaun, go for it. I will totally allow it.
Right.
You want to be Han Solo and try and, use it to fight off the Gamorrean guards when you just came out of the carbonite? Yeah, you're losing a limb, at least.
Look, it's like a flashlight to me, man. I just know to hold that end away from me. I don't understand why that's so hard. Okay. All right. So control. You can use the control skill to control the force inherent in your own body. By doing so, you can control your own hunger, pain, thirst, and exhaustion. You can help your immune system defeat poisons and diseases. You can accelerate your body's natural healing abilities, heighten your natural alertness, or put your body in a hibernating trance. If you ever try to do any of these things, the Game Master will tell you what the difficulty number is. And we'll probably get to that in the Game Master section in a moment. Okay, so that's control. Sense. If you have the sense skill, you can feel the ebb and flow of the force, sensing the bonds that connect all things. You can read the feelings of others, heighten your own senses, and tell how badly damaged or diseased an organism is, and then step on it. If you have the sense skill, you can use the lightsaber to parry blaster bolts because, you're sensing it coming in, as well as other melee weapons. You roll once because you just cut it in half. You roll your sense skill and add the result to the blaster fire's difficulty number, so it acts like a dodge roll in that case, in terms of rolling. This is the only time a melee weapon can be used to parry blaster fire. Of course, because Jedi cheat. You can even try to reflect a blaster bolt back at its firer or another target. This is considered 2 uses of the sense skill, so the die code is reduced by 1d. The first skill increases the blaster fire's difficulty number. If he misses, use your sense skill the second time to aim the blaster bolt at someone else. The Game Master tells you what the difficulty number is. If your sense roll is equal or higher, you hit the intended target. The blaster bolt's damage code is, of course, the damage code for the weapon that fired it. This is not something that rookie Jedi do, but it is definitely something that you do later on because it's free damage. Why not? If you possess both the sense and control skills, you can combine them to read minds, project thoughts and feelings into the minds of others, and see the past, present, and possible futures. Alter. If you have the alter skill, you can move objects with your mind alone. If you possess both control and alter, you may do the bodies of others what you can do to your own, or do to the bodies of others what you can do to your own. Help them withstand pain, fatigue, hunger, and thirst, accelerate healing, and so on. If you possess all 3 force skills, you can change the contents of the minds of others, causing them to see what is not there, remember things incorrectly, or come to false conclusions, i.e., those are not the droids you're looking for. All right.
Well,
so that's the player-facing side. Go ahead.
It says if you have control and sense, you can, see the past, the present, and the future. If you also have alter, then can you time travel?
Yes. Just right out of my game. You can time travel right out of my game. Goodbye. All right, now let's look at the Game Master section of the Force. Send all your hatred comments to @GamingWithADHD.
Look, I had to throw that one in there. I thought that was a wonderful callback to the beginning.
All right. The Force is everywhere. It is in all things. Some learn its nature and gain mastery of life. There you go. Mastery of life, thought, and matter. You are the master. The Force is your... Most do not. But even those who do not know the Force, even those who are skeptical of its existence, still possess it. Some dismiss the Force working as mere luck. Others recognize it for what it is. Space magic.
Hopi
Force
religion.
This is why a real man carries a blaster. Each player character begins with 1 force point. At any time during the game, player may announce that he is spending a force point. Oh, notice that on the Game Master side, he doesn't make you use stupid words. Just says, hey, I want to spend his force point. All right. Player cannot spend more force points in an adventure than his character possesses. If his character has 3 force points, he can only spend 3. That's in an entire adventure. Once he's spent all 3, he can spend no more. And we already talked about how to possibly get them back. On the combat round, which character spends a force point, all his skills and attribute codes are doubled. That means he can take twice as many actions, and his chances of success are much higher. It also means he is much less likely to be injured. All right. In addition, if the character is stunned in the same round, he ignores the stun and may continue taking actions. Wow. Okay, well. 4 results. Spending a force point can have 4 possible results. Doing wrong. Okay, we already talked about that. If you're using force for evil, got it. Oh, give some examples here for the game master. Killing or injuring someone except in self-defense, using force to gain power, using the force while angry or filled with hate. Huh. Sounds like the Jedi code. So even not Jedi, I have to follow the Jedi code. Lame. Being unheroic, avoiding danger, saving your own butt, gaining money or goods. Wait, hold on. He loses force point he spent permanently. That's lame. Being heroic. This is where, you'll not lose it, but you also won't gain a new one back. When a character uses a force point in a heroic fashion, he gets a point back at the end of the adventure. I'm sorry, he gets it back, doesn't get the bonus. I'm sorry. Exposing yourself to great danger. Sacrificing to help others. Taking big risks to help the Alliance or fight the Empire. Now, that's a political decision. That's not being heroic. This game's political. Being heroic at the dramatically appropriate moment. If a character spends a force point in a heroic way at the dramatically appropriate moment, not only does he gain or get the force point back at the end of the adventure, but he may get another point as well. Okay. What is a dramatically blah, blah, blah? Rescuing Princess Leia from imprisonment. Somebody already did that one. You're not going to do it. Confronting Darth Vader. Well, that's not really heroic. That's just stupid. You're going to die. Attacking the Death Star. Vader, if I remember correctly, I don't know if he's in this book or not, but if I remember correctly, he has like 14 dice in powers.
I mean, yeah.
It's not heroic to stand up against him. It's stupid. All right, getting points back. When a player spends a force point, tell him whether he loses point or will get it back. All right. Well, player's force point total is the maximum number of force points he can spend in an adventure. So if you do evil stuff, you're just going to lose the ability of doing, force points. Got it. Force points and bad guys. Force points give player characters real advantage over NPCs. They let player characters do things that normal characters could never do. Is that fair? In a sense, yes, because this game is propaganda. Player characters are heroes. Stormtroopers are cannon fodder. Tell that to the person wearing the armor. Tell that to his wife and kids. As he was conscripted. Didn't even want the job, but you know what? It's paying the bills. Is he supposed to become a smuggler? Well, you know what? That's against the law.
I mean, some of them joined up for the health benefits.
And then they got stationed on the Death Star. Oh, man. It's all right for heroes to be able to do things others cannot. Cheaters. We call them cheaters. Villains can also have force points. You don't want to know how many Darth Vader must have, but he's already a freaking evil Jedi person. What about, I want to know how many Grand Moff Tarkin has. Remember that the Force is not itself an instrument of good or evil. It has its dark side as well as its light. Villains can use the Force as readily as heroes. About time. So, important NPCs should have force points too, and may spend them when confronted by heroes. Now, okay, in all seriousness, in terms of a game, this is perfect. Yes, the stormtroopers are mooks that you're going to hopefully kind of, they're basically just going to slow you down and maybe get a lucky shot here and there, but they're not really the real threat unless they come in any big numbers. It's when you start getting into, the bigger character. Who would that be in Star Wars? The Boba Fett's, right? That's when things become a bit different. Now, Boba Fett would have some force points because that's an important NPC. Dark side points. All right, now the good stuff. Whenever a character uses the Force in an immoral way, he gains 1 dark side point. He should record the number of dark side points he has accumulated on his character template. Whenever a character gains a dark side point, the game master should roll 1d. If the die roll is less than the number of dark side points the character has accumulated, the character immediately goes over to the dark side. Wow. Wait. If it's less than the number of dark side points.
He's not wasting any time. Just
Okay. No. I was visualizing something different here. Got it. Okay. I was thinking it was 1D per dark side point. I'm like, the more dark side points I have, the less chance of me going over. No, it's just 1D. No matter how many dark side points you have, it's just 1D. So if you have 4 dark side points, good luck, buddy. Example, a character gains his 3rd dark side point. He turns to evil on a roll of 1 or 2. Yeah. All player characters in Star Wars role-playing game are members of the Rebellion. Any character consumed by the dark side cannot be a player character. I'm playing a different game than this. When a player character goes over to the dark side, the game master must take the character template. Oh, I love that. Oh my God. This book sometimes just makes me want to bathe in glorious. Yes. The game master must take the character template from his player. The character is now a non-player character controlled by the game master. Player wishes to continue playing, he must generate a new character entirely with a different template, with a different character, because this one is mine. Be careful. Careful. In any good role-playing campaign, players become attached to their characters. At the best of times, losing a character can be No, it is not traumatic. It can be a little sad. You've been playing the character for a while, but it is not traumatic. This weird definition that people have of trauma now is just weird. It's not traumatic to lose a piece of paper that lives only in your imagination. Having your character return as a villain is especially painful. Well, you know what? I'm sorry, Rob. Oh, I shouldn't have given you a real name, but oh well. I'm sorry now for raising your paladin as an undead in the Palladium fantasy game. I didn't realize that it is truly painful for somebody to have that happen. I know you were angry with me for years, still probably are. I apologize for the trauma I inflicted upon you. That your imaginary character sheet of 18s and 12s and +1s and +2s caused you pain. Because I made him my bitch as a zombie. When you assign a dark side point to a player, be absolutely certain you are justified. I'm the game master. I'm always justified. When a character gains a dark side point, there's a real chance he will turn to the dark side. If the player believes you're acting lightly and loses his character's result, he'll be justifiably annoyed. There you go. Yeah, annoyed, absolutely. Yeah, game masters, don't be dicks. Like, look, a character who's being a little self-serving because he wants to survive the scenario, I don't consider that being a dark side point. Is it heroic? No. But it's also not a dark side point. But if he's doing it for his own seriously personal edification and doesn't care who he screws or kills or whatever as a result of it, yeah, okay, that's a dark side. Always tell a player when he runs the risk of earning a dark side point. Tell him that doing what he wants will earn him. That's the whole, are you sure you want to do that? That's what novice game masters do, or that's what good game masters do to very novice players. That's not something you should be. Hey, you got a dark side point for that? But why? I didn't think it was evil and you didn't warn me. I shouldn't have to warn you that stabbing somebody in the throat is evil. But he was a bad guy. Yeah, but you specifically said you want to stab him in the throat to watch the blood trickle down his chest. That's evil. Tell what he's doing
from a certain point of view.
Yes, from a certain point of view. Oh, good one. Touche, sir. You win the internets for today. And let him change his mind if he wants to do something else. Hell no. Again, new players, yes.
And I real quick, I do think that is fair in this book because like core rule books, all that kind of stuff are generally aimed at new players.
That's fair. That's fair.
You know, new to this game, new to role playing, whatever it is. So I think that's fine to say here. But over time, yeah, your players know what decision they're making. Let them suffer the consequences.
If you want to, we can poke more holes, or not holes in that, but we can put more concepts out there. If you've never game mastered this group before, it's a new group of players. Even they might be experienced, but it's a new group of players that aren't used to your style. It's things like that. there are many reasons why that's not a horribly bad idea, but the way it's codified in here in black and white like that makes it seem like that's just something you're supposed to do. And
Right.
okay, if he argues, claiming that's what he wants to do, that what he wants to do is not immoral, there's really only one answer. You're the game master, and if you say it's wrong, it's wrong. And then he doesn't show up at your table anymore. But that's okay. You didn't want him at your table anyway, because he argued with you.
I mean, let's be honest. You were tired of him by that point.
If the player consciously decides to go ahead anyway and take the risk, so be it. And there's no reason to complain if the character turns to the dark side. By letting a player make a conscious decision, you're avoiding ill feeling and also making a decision at a dramatic moment. Okay, the concept redeemed itself in those last two paragraphs, but atonement. It's time to go to confession, folks. It's time to go to confession. Through fasting, deep meditation, and ritual, a character may shed himself of the stain of darkness. The process is long and rigorous. It's a montage sequence with good rock music back behind you. The character may continue to play while he's attempting to atone, but he must consciously be purer than the pure. Doing anything that is even arguably wrong prevents atonement. Wow. As a general rule of thumb, if during a session of play, the player makes a point of telling you he's attempting to atone, clearly worries about doing the right thing, and pays strict and close attention doing the right thing, then he's attempting to atone. If he acts like nothing happened, he is not. I want to be very clear. Something popped in my head while I was reading this. The mockery that I'm putting out here isn't for Jedi. I 100% agree with all this stuff for Jedi. It's for the non-Jedi that I have a little bit of maybe a soft spot for, to let them maybe act outside the bounds or be able to justify things. Somebody who hates it when characters or players, are always rationalizing their nonsense. Look that way. How did he die? Oh, I don't know. I was looking the wrong way. Shut up. That whole paladin thing of look the other way while we, no. How do I say this? What I'm reading here, I think holds true for Jedi. I think you can be a little more flexible when it comes to non-Jedi, as long as it's reasonable. If a player acts like this for 5 sessions of play, mentioning his attempt to atone in every one and clearly avoiding wrongful acts, then his dark side total goes down by 1. If a character acts in a questionable manner on even one expedition, he must start all over again. Wow. The force of the Jedi. Okay.
At that point, I'm just letting my character turn and I'll roll up a new one.
That's too much work.
That is a lot of work.
Okay, I'm not going to read The Force and the Jedi. It's kind of rehashing stuff. Watch the movies if you want to know more. I'm just looking real quickly to see if there's anything in here that I think that we really need to...
And by watch the movies, Max means watch the original trilogy. Because this one doesn't have that whole midichlorian nonsense in it.
Well, right. Well, again, this game, I don't know if you said you did watch it, but it's just to reiterate it here. I will grudgingly accept the argument. Not that I agree with it, but I will grudgingly accept the argument that the D20 saga system is better for the prequels.
Right.
Okay. I haven't played Fantasy Flight. I can't talk about it. All I know is that everybody that's played it that I've talked to loves it. Okay. Whatever. But for recreating the original trilogy, the feel of all 3 of the original trilogy movies, whether A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, or Return of the Jedi, this game system right here, it is spot on. I can't say that it's as good for the prequels. To be fair, I haven't played a prequels game doing this, but I can. But none of those other ones, and certainly not the D20 system, really captures the feel of the original trilogy like this game, like this version of the game does. So yes, when I'm talking about watch the movies, absolutely, I'm talking about the original trilogy. So it's inevitable that some men would use the Force to slake their base lust for wealth and power. The dark side is easy and seductive. The first success brought thirst for more. These evil ones brought great Jedi low, hunting down and killing all their ancient order, all or almost all. I don't know which book it's in. I know I read it. It might be 2nd edition because that's what we played. But it talks in there about how it's really easy to get one dark side point. And you got to do more to get the second. You have to do even more to get there. By the time you're done, like I was mentioning last week, the reason the Emperor was annihilating planets because it was the only thing he could do to get another freaking dark side point. It's like nothing else just equaled all the nonsense that he'd been doing. I killed 20 people today. Still wasn't good enough for the dark side, for the Force to care. All right, finding a master. Do we really care about that? Jedis for ancient. There are no textbooks for Jedi, no colleges, no dojos. There are holocrons. To learn about the Force, become a Jedi, character must be trained by one who already understands. A player character who wishes to become a Jedi must study with a master. In theory, a player character could search one out of the remaining Jedi to ask to study with him. In practice, this is impossible or virtually so. Star Wars, the role-playing game, is played during a period of rebellion, neither before nor after. During that period, the only pupil Kenobi and Yoda had was Skywalker. There you go. Everything else outside the scope of the game. Doesn't mean that it's impossible. Some students of the Jedi who never completed their training may be able to help. Vader and the Empire did not pursue every last minor adept. They executed all who were dangerous, but that still leaves many with minor powers, such as failed Jedi or minor Jedi, which are templates at the back of the book. The Jedi are the best known masters of the Force in the galaxy. However, they are not necessarily the only ones. So you got like the Witches of Dathomar and so forth. The alien student is an example. Don't teach your aliens the Force, please. Even if he obtains a teacher, the most a character can do is learn a little bit about the Force and its uses, and then go on his own. Okay. Dark side. Does the Force use the Jedi, or the Jedi use the Force? To the Force, one must be in harmony with it. Only when sounds like it has an attitude. Only when calm, at peace, one can act with assurance of control. When one is at harmony with the universe, one acts as one must to maintain harmony. The will and the Force are one. The actor and the acted upon, the same. There is no contradiction. There is unity. That is the path of light. There's another, the path of darkness. I forget, what's the Sith code? I forget it off the top of my head. Through strength, my chains are broken, yada, yada. Whatever.
By the juice of Safu, I set my mind in motion. What?
Excuse me. Excuse me. We do not mock the Sith code. We only mock the Jedi code. Okay. The universe is an angry morass of power. To release that power, one must harness one's basest emotions: hate, anger, fear, aggression. By releasing one's own anger, one releases the anger of eternity. Yeah. This has got some Masters of the Universe going on here. Only when filled with hate can one perform the most hateful of acts. The will and the Force are one. Oh, man. Ugh, I just feel it. Yes, it makes me warm on the inside. That is the choice. Oh, that is the choice of the Jedi. Serenity or hatred, peace or anger, freedom or tyranny. Well, it doesn't. Wait, I can have hatred, I can have anger, and I can have freedom. I don't understand why. Learning or power. Well, yeah. The light or the darkness. Because the use of the Force and the way of the Force uses because the use of the Force and the way the Force uses its user are one, the choice is inescapable. A Jedi who starts down the path of the dark side will forever be dominant. Consumed, sir. Wrong choice of words there. Will forever be consumed by it. That is why the Jedi must follow a strict code. Blah, 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 emotion and peace and other nonsense that the Jedi believe in. How long is this damn chapter? It says it goes to page 80. Are you kidding me?
This was your plan, sir.
Oh, okay. Most of these are powers. Never mind. Oof. All right. Well, it's because I got to get it done today. To use the Force, you got to remain in harmony, blah, blah, blah. Jedi never acts. Okay, this is just going in the moral code crap. Okay, training. There are 3 Force skills. Control, sense, and alter. Unlike other skills, they are not governed by any attribute. They are their own thing, their own creatures of the Force. It is like the Trinity, but for Star Wars. An untrained character does not have and cannot use Force skills. Only when he receives training in a Force skill can he use it. The first skill a character learns when he trains is control. Really? So I can't just jump to alter? All right, fine.
You must control.
Whatever. Sounds like you're just trying to earn more money from me. Tip in the tip jar there. After 1 week of intensive study, he gains the skill. It only takes a week to become a Jedi? Well, I'm in. His starting skill code is 1D. Learning a Force skill at 1D does not cost any skill points. Oh, this is the best. Masters usually teach pupils control first. Oh, usually. Then sense, then alter. When a master decides the time is ripe, really? Ripe, okay. He teaches his pupil the next skill. Each skill takes 1 week of intensive training to learn. When learned, each skill begins with a code of 1D. So it takes 3 weeks to become a Jedi. We're in. I'm doing this. I'm going to take some vacation time. Not even all of my vacation time, and I'm going to come back a Jedi. As long as the character has a master, he may spend skill points he earns during the game to increase his Force skills. So did they lie to all those Padawans? Oh, you must be picked up at age 3. We have to rip you from your family. And then, only when you're around age 16 to 18 or whatever will you become a Jedi Knight. They lied. It was honestly indentured servitude the entire time.
Have you not read the theories on the internet that the Jedi were actually evil?
Don't have to read the theories. You can just see it in action. As long, no, my favorite one is still Jar Jar the Sith, because that's the only way I can accept him.
I mean, there's also like, why did Qui-Gon, like, skewed the kid? He knew the kid was about leaving his mom. Fear anger leads to hate. Hate leads. So the kid is afraid. Let's leave it behind.
Yeah, but Qui-Gon had the same problem. According to like his background and even his lightsaber form and whatnot, he had a lot of those same hangups. But he got over them, so he probably thought that dude could get over them. I mean, if he's supposed to be the chosen one, shouldn't he be able to get over them just as well as he could?
And make a lot of mistakes.
Fair. Okay. As long as the character has a mastery, he may spend the skill points he earns during the game to increase his Force skills. However, he can never increase a skill that is still at 0 by spending skill points. Okay, so he has to have a master for a week. A master can only teach a pupil to his own level. A master has a control skill of 5D plus 1. The pupil may spend skill points to increase his own control skill up to 5D plus 1 at the normal cost. A pupil can increase his Force skill above his master skill code and then kick his butt. But doing so costs double the normal number of skill points. So you really hope that you have one heck of a powerful master. And you can't have a starship because you would have no skill points. Yeah. 4 of the character templates are printed with Force skills. The alien student of the Force, don't teach your aliens the Force. The failed Jedi, the minor Jedi, and the quixotic Jedi. Their starting skills codes are all 1D. These characters may spend dice from their initial allotment to start with higher skill codes. When they begin playing, so that goes back to character creation for anybody who's like, what does all that mean? Go back to character creation. When you get, I think 7 dice, you can add to your control, alter, and sense, at the cost of maybe a blaster skill or something. When they begin play, these characters have already learned as much as they can from their respective masters. They can increase their Force skills, but only by paying double the normal skill point cost. Wow. They start you off in the hole, man. The only way they can avoid the doubled cost by finding a new master with greater skills. And didn't the book already say that doesn't exist?
Wait. No. The only way you can avoid the doubled cost. If you have a master, you pay the regular price.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Or you can teach yourself for double.
Right. I don't want to pay double. I want to pay the normal price. That's a ripoff.
Well, then you have to find a master.
Which there aren't any.
Exactly. So you pay double.
This game sucks.
You suck.
To be fair, no. To be completely honest, though, that double, when you see the Force powers, you're not going to care that you pay double. Oh no, Brian raised his blaster skill twice as fast as I did. My powers supersede his blaster skill by 100-fold. So right. Jedi are super powerful in this game, as they should be, which is why
they're evil, which is why they're powerful.
Right. And yeah, and if you're following the code, if you're if you're doing what you're supposed to do as a Jedi, if you're playing it right, you want to have a Jedi in your group. If you're character peening next to each other, like, oh, the Brian's Jedi is stronger than my character, blah, blah, blah. A good game master knows how to handle that. Have the Jedi go that way. Oh, look at this. What did they do in Star Wars? Han and Leia and Luke, they went one direction. Well, Obi-Wan went another direction. That's splitting the party. Well, or there are also other ways that you can keep the Jedi busy or under control or looking really dang cool while you have other stuff to do. So, taking on pupils. A character who begins with 4 skills can take on pupils. However, there's some limits, like as in Vader's not going to be happy about that. Character currently studying with a master cannot take on a pupil himself. Aw. A master can only have 1 pupil at a time. What rules are these? It's the rule of 2. The Jedi have the rule of 2.
No, the Sith have the rule of 2.
A character studying with a master cannot take on a pupil himself. A master can only have 1 pupil at a time. That is the rule of 2, sir. Master. Well, I mean, on the Sith, they go one step further, where there literally can't be any other. But we're a more compartmentalized rule of 2 is the Jedi.
There we go. Okay.
Master may not teach 4 skills to a character who has any dark side points. Wow, you have to atone. It'd be wrong to teach 4 skills to someone so tainted. You said taint. A master may only teach 4 skills to a character who agrees to abide by the Jedi code, which means he's not tainted, okay. The 3 skills. Jedi can control their own bodies and minds, and the minds and bodies of others, and physical objects. All these powers are manifestations of a few simple manipulations of the Force. The first thing a Jedi learns... Oh my God, we already did that. Let's just get to the skills. Can we just get to the skills?
For a 140-page book, they repeat a lot.
For a 140-page book, which is already small. Well, okay, to be fair, there's the player section, the game master section, so we are repeating a lot of stuff that came from the player section. But we're also repeating a lot of stuff that came already in the game master section.
Right. It's still a lot of repetition.
Yes. All right, let's go down here. Combining the skills. Each of the 3 skills can be used in several different ways. By combining skills, a character can produce even more impressive effects. The power descriptions printed below describe ways the 3 skills can be used. Each method of use is called a power. For example, control pain, remain conscious, and accelerate healing are all control skill powers. A character who knows a Force skill can use any or all of the powers listed under the skill name. Please note that a power is not a spell. Yes, it is. It's space magic. It's simply one way that a skill can be used. At the Game Master's discretion, wow, any of the 3 Force skills can be used in other ways that are consistent with the general description of the skill that involve controlling internal force, sensing external force, or altering either. This is an area that I've seen cause fights. I actually have seen it cause fights at the table. Players like to overly rationalize why something should work, and game masters like to overly contain what they can do. This is not Mage the Ascension. You can't do whatever comes to your mind and hope it works. At the same time, you are supposed to be able to use those powers. We'll call it within scope, but outside written description. Stay within the theme of the power, and it shouldn't be that much of a problem.
Yeah, this would be something that I would absolutely... I don't know if I would necessarily encourage it, but it's like if you don't see a power or something listed underneath one of the skills, I'd be okay with a player saying, hey, I want to do this, and then leave it up to the game master to say, okay, if you want to do that with the Force, that's going to be a sense roll or an alter roll, and let them be a little bit more flexible than just going off the spell list.
Right, and you can always change difficulty numbers. If you're like, ooh, that, I guess that's technically maybe within the scope, but it really seems like you're kind of pushing the envelope, just increase the difficulty number.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, talking about difficulty numbers. Each power description contains a difficulty number section. When a character uses a power, look up the difficulty number for that power and make a skill roll for the character. If the roll is equal to or greater than the difficulty number, he succeeds and uses the power. If it's less, he fails. It's that simple. Brian tries to Jedi mind trick me. He rolls, he succeeds, and I go make him a plate of lasagna. If he fails, I give him 2 middle fingers.
Now I want lasagna.
Me too. A Jedi might trick myself. All right, dark side modifications. Would that fall under alteration? When a character with dark side point uses a force skill, his code is increased by 1 per dark side point. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, baby. Example, Jimbo, great dark side name, love it. Jimbo's control skill is 4, and he has 2 dark side points. When he uses a control skill, he rolls 6 dice. Why is this so? Because it's easier to harness the dark side of the force than it is the light. Because the dark side is what you're meant to grab. Life isn't supposed to be hard. Life is supposed to be efficient and easy. Grab the easy dark side. It's there for you. It's waiting for you to tap into it. It's saying, please, don't ignore it. See, the dark side is easier, more seductive path. There's always a temptation to take it and risk abandonment of the light. Resisting force powers. Whenever a force power is used to affect another character against his will, the target resists with his perception. Okay? Make a perception roll for the target, then roll for the force skill. If the perception roll is greater than the force skill roll, the power fails. If the force skill roll is equal to or greater than the power, succeeds. Got it. Characters know the control skill. Characters who know the control skill may use it instead of perception. Oh, so if you want, so Jedi fighting Jedi uses control versus control. Got it. Time using a force skill takes 1 combat round. Got it. Uses the same rules for using multiple. If you're trying to use multiple force powers or multiple a power multiple times, it's the same rules. Got it. Give me power up. Can we get to the powers here? I'm bored. Sometimes the character wishes to keep power up. That is continually operating for a long period of time. For example, if a Jedi were walking across the desert under fierce double stars radiation, where could that be? He might want to keep absorb, dissipate energy. All right, to avoid sunburn. Oh my God, really?
And sunstroke.
Heat stroke I get, but sunburn, come on. Just wear some clothes. A player may announce that he wishes to keep his power up before making a necessary skill roll. If a skill roll succeeds, the power operates continually until dropped. A character may voluntarily drop a power he is keeping up at any time. If a character is stunned or wounded, any power he's keeping up automatically is dropped. Oh, so if you're force choking somebody, as you should do, and then you get shot, you're going to drop the force choke. All right. Lightsabers, all right. Yeah, forget the Jedi code. Let's read about lightsabers. Any character may use a lightsaber as a melee weapon, using its normal damage rating of 5 dice. However, lightsabers are very rare weapons that cannot normally be purchased, but are as rare as objet. So it's as rare as French people. Obtaining a lightsaber might be the climax of an adventure. I just got it and the adventure's over? Lame! When a character with the control skill uses a lightsaber, he adds his control skill dice to the damage code when he hits. Ouch. Character has a control skill of 3d plus 1. When he hits with a lightsaber, he rolls 8d plus 1 to determine its damage. Because the lightsaber, remember, has a damage of 5. 3d plus 1 plus 5d equals 8d plus 1. Okay. By the way, not a lot of armor and strength is going to resist that damage, which is why they chop through things pretty readily. In addition, whenever a character with a sense skill uses a lightsaber to parry in hand-to-hand combat, we already talked about this stuff. It's just telling how to roll it now. Fire misses. Okay. Okay, that's it. All right, let's look at a couple of powers. Let's look at one control power. Do you have one in particular you want to look at?
You know what? Let's... I mean, I don't have one offhand. Give me 2 seconds. Let me look. Color plates.
I know which one I want.
All right, start with yours. I'll find one in just a second.
Okay. Contort escape. Difficulty number. Loose bonds. So if you're tied with loose bonds, you only need a 5. If you're in some handcuffs, you need a 10. If you're in some serious restraints, a 15. And if you're in maximum security, it's 20. And somehow exists in Star Wars. And if you're trapped like he is, 30. Effect: the character escapes his bonds by contorting in a painful and difficult but physically possible way. For example, it is possible to escape from handcuffs by dislocating the thumb and pinky to reduce the width of the hand. This is painful, but a trained Jedi can resist pain and damage to the musculature and ligaments with proper body control. As Houdini demonstrated, with enough time, the right training, and the will, it is possible to escape from virtually any restraints.
Okay.
Which one did you
I'm
want?
gonna go with hibernation trance. Just scroll left.
Scroll left, okay. Wow, these could be in alphabetical order, but they're not.
Difficulty number 20. Effect: the character falls into a trance. Heartbeat slows to a few beats per minute. Breathing drops to a minimum. The character is unconscious. Hibernating is useful at 2 times: when a character wants to, quote, play dead, and
It's
when
feign death.
Right, when food or air supplies are low. A hibernating character appears to be dead. A mirror held to his mouth would show a very faint mist, but you'd need pretty sharp eyes to be sure. Someone who listened with a stethoscope for a minute or more might hear a very faint, very slow heartbeat. Life sensors might show a slight flicker. Assume that anyone who sees the hibernating character takes him for dead unless they make a point of testing him. Character with the sense skill can detect a hibernating character's force and will know he is still alive. Someone hibernating consumes about 1/10 as much air as someone sleeping. Character can hibernate for a week in a dry atmosphere or up to a month in a foggy or wet one before dying from lack of water. It is possible to hook him up to an intravenous water drip to let him survive indefinitely. Character can hibernate for 3 months before dying of starvation. An intravenous sugar solution drip extends that to 1 year. When a character enters a trance, the player must tell the game master what will wake him up. He can say how long he wants to hibernate or what stimuli will awaken him. Waking a character at another time is tough. Slapping him around may do the trick, but could take hours. Another character with force skills can use place in hibernation trance in reverse to wake a character in a few combat rounds. So,
the Jedi pinata.
yeah.
This is fun.
So, and part of the reason I picked this one out, I know there was one novel where Luke was flying in his X-Wing and his hyperdrive failed. And so he rigged up like a hyperspace transmitter, sent out a message, but then he had to sit there and wait in his X-Wing. And so he actually used the Jedi hibernation trance. So, anyways.
1 second. All right. So there we go. That's I like that because it I mean, obviously I would read the game book, so I would know what the powers are, but it didn't say feign death there. When I saw the feign death thing, I was like, okay, that's pretty dang cool. I like that. Okay, let's go to alter now. We're gonna alter some deals. Oh no, we're in sense. Never mind. Not altering any deals. See, let's pick I'm gonna find one. Go ahead and find one in sense as well.
Okay.
Oh, that's a good one. I know which one I'm reading. And I know
All right.
I also know why I'm doing it. Ooh, control plus sense. How about this? Do you want to pick one of the control plus sense ones instead or no?
Sure. Well, real quick, which one are you going to do?
I was gonna do the astrogation one.
Oh, that's the one I was going to pick too.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll go control sense.
So I don't know if it's in this book or if it's another one, but there is a template called the Jedi Ace. And this would be really good for him. Difficulty number is 15. Normally, difficulty number for astrogating a ship without a nav computer is 30, but because you have space magic, I'm sorry, by using Sense Pilot, his trip through hyperspace, a character can reduce the astrogation difficulty number to 5 for a standard duration trip.
What? Why have an astrogation computer? Just get yourself a Jedi at that point.
Well, hold on. So hold on. So he has to roll a 15 first under his sense, right? Then he still has to make an astrogation roll. So if he fails at 15, that target number is still 30.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean, but you should be making like a 15. Remember, that's a quote unquote normal number, anyways. You're not going to do it as a level 1 Jedi, but
No, remember, the difficulty number for 15 is a sense roll, though. It's not a pilot, it's not an astrogation roll.
no, I know.
So this is the sense roll. Then he follows that up with his astrogation roll, which would normally be a 30. Well, that's without a nav computer.
No, I'm not arguing any of the numbers. And that's why I said you're not going to do it as a level 1 Jedi, because you're not going to have enough sense to get a 15. If you just got 1 or 2D in your sense skill.
But even if you got 3 or 4D, that's a pretty. I mean, 4D, your max is 24. Average would be 14. So you'd be just under. It's less than a 50% chance. But yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's good, it's awesome, but I wouldn't want to waste my Jedi on being my astrogator.
Right, but it's still a fun one. Yeah, as soon as I saw that with all the stuff that we were quote unquote arguing about for the astrogation stuff, yeah, that's gonna be a boost. So, all right.
Which one did you pick?
I'm gonna do projective telepathy.
That sounds like a never mind.
Yes, we're gonna make it awkward, folks. Control difficulty number 5 as modified by proximity, +5 if the user cannot verbalize the thoughts he is transmitting. Sense difficulty number if the target is friendly and does not wish to resist, the difficulty is so. Would you make separate rolls? Because if it's got a control and a sense difficulty number, so then I'm making my control roll and my sense roll.
I think so, yeah.
That's slightly awkward. Anyways, if the target is friendly and does not wish to resist, the difficulty is 5. It's modified by relationship. If the target resists, make a perception roll for the target and modify for relationship. Effect: the target hears the thoughts of the user and feels the emotions of the user. The target knows that the thoughts and emotions are not his own and that they belong to the user of the power. This power is not used to control minds, but to communicate. So basically this is, they give in the example, Luke calling out to Leia when he's hanging underneath Cloud City. So anyways, can be useful.
It's a cheap way to talk to people. All right.
I mean, look, when you're out of phone bill credits.
Now we go into alter powers, the good ones. Telekinesis. Injure, kill. Well, yeah.
Warning, a character who uses this skill immediately gains a dark side point.
How do I gain more? Difficulty of make a perception or a control roll for the target and modify for proximity without any effect. Without any attempt to sense the target's nature or control his force, the user alters part of the target's body intending to injure or kill. Is used in a manner similar to combat skills. User rolls alter skill dice. This die rolls 3 times the difficulty numbers. The target is mortally wounded. Whoops, I crushed the trachea. My bad. if the alter die roll is at least twice the difficulty, the target is incapacitated and so on. However, injure kill never stuns. If the alter roll is less than the difficulty, the target is not affected.
All right. Scroll right and go to transfer force.
Oh, that sounds gay.
Control difficulty number 5 is modified by relationship. Alter difficulty number 5 is modified by proximity. If both skill rolls succeed, okay, so there it does. There's the answer I was looking for last time. If both skill rolls succeed, the user must spend a force point to use this power. Don't worry, he'll get it back. Using the power is inherently heroic. The user transfers a portion of his own life force into the body of the subject. The power is usually used on a mortally wounded subjects to keep them alive. Normally, you make a 2D roll for mortally wounded characters every combat round. If you roll less than the number of combat rounds that have elapsed since the combat character was mortally wounded, he dies.
Ooh.
Don't roll for mortally wounded characters to whom force is transferred. The target of the power goes into a hibernation and will die only after hours or days. Plenty of time to get him to a rejuvenation tank.
You hope.
You hope. Yes.
All right. Yeah, so I mean that actually is a pretty cool power. And that's a one that you're probably going to want in your group at some point. It's not going to bring you, it's not like Dungeons and Dragons, it's not going to be a healing potion that you just pop back up, but at least your character now isn't going to die.
Correct.
And then we have control, sense, and alter. We have, let's see, affect mind, any cool ones in here. And telekinetic kill. Well, you know which one I'm looking at. Affect
Let's just
mind
do
is
that
just
one.
a Jedi mind trick. What's telekinetic kill? Okay. Character uses this skill, immediately gains a dark side point. Again, yeah, I mean, it's called telekinetic kill, of course.
Why are they giving us a warning? They already sold us on telekinetic kill.
Control difficulty number 5 is modified by proximity. Sense difficulty number, make a perception or control roll for the target. Alter difficulty. That's right, you're making a ton of rolls to get this out. This is how you know you're in full control of the Force. Unlimited power! 10 for wounds and 20 for incapacitation, 30 for mortal wounds. Subtract the target's relationship modifier. Wait, what? Subtract the target's relationship modifier? Okay. So killing a complete stranger is easier than killing a close relative. That makes sense. You know what? I'm not going to argue with that. Effect. The user uses a telekinetic ability to injure or kill the target. The exact method can vary. One can stir the brain. That's gross. Squeeze the heart. Or Darth Vader's favorite, collapse the trachea. Apology accepted, Captain Ida. There you go. All right. And beyond. What further mysteries lie locked in the universe? Blah, 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 blah. It's whispered the Jedi live forever, that their works live on, that the human destinies whose plans they've laid have not yet come to their fruition. It is whispered that Vader and the Emperor himself experiment terrible sorceries far beyond the ability of a few weak students of the mystic arts that yet remain alive. I don't think Vader did any of that. I think that was all the Emperor, but I could be wrong. Okay, so that is the Force. Yeah, there are definitely some things missing from here that I'm used to, so I'm going to have to guess that those came from 2nd edition, which is fine. I actually like the way this book wrote it better than what I was used to. So I give this book a thumbs up. Again, having some fun with the fact that some are dark side, you know, whatever. Obviously, you're supposed to be playing Jedi. You're supposed to be playing the good guy. Like to have some fun with that. What are your thoughts overall with the Jedi powers that they gave in here?
No, I think they give good examples. Like I said, I would still open it up and let the player be a little bit more flexible with what they can do. Just if you give me a good description, I'll tell you what force power to use, and go from there. But it's good enough for a framework on how to use it. So I like it. It's good.
All right, well, let's grab some chat here. I know we have a super chat. I saw that pop in. So here we go. Let's do that right now. Jamal Gunn, D6 Holocran has all rulebooks, source books, guides, and supplements for all systems, including conversions and player additions and updates. Well, if you, kind viewer, paid this much attention and are still watching with my crooked camera, I just realized it's off center again. I don't know how the cats keep jumping up there. Anyway, then there you go. Thank you very much for the $5 super chat. Really appreciate that. And you should go check out. Yeah, that was a D6 Holocron. And just so people know, I don't promote theft. I don't promote stealing of books and so on and so forth. But this stuff, it's actually open source. I can't remember what the proper term for it is, but it's actually legal to do that. I'm going to fix my camera because it's going to annoy me if I don't.
Yeah, in general, I agree with you as well. I think it does get complicated when we have stuff like, like these licensed properties, where, like Wizards of the Coast is just putting out all of the D&D books. There are legal ways to go and pay $5, get a PDF, whatever. But Star Wars, there isn't. Unless you find it on the secondary market, it doesn't exist, and you may not find it on the secondary market. So
here's my rule for things like PDFs and so forth. If the book is in print, if the company, so for example, Wizards of the Coast still puts out Advanced Dungeons and Dragons First Edition, basic whatever, then I will never put the free version out there, because that's not appropriate. I believe in that. Like, even if I don't like Wizards of the Coast and don't want to give them money, that's where it is. But then there are other games like Wizards, which is based on the movie Wizards. You can't get that anywhere. then in that case, I have no problem passing it on. Well, but that's not fair to the licensee holder. Well, the licensee holder should have it for sale somewhere. If the licensee holder doesn't want to have it for sale, well, then I will give it to people.
Right. So somebody somewhere has the license rights. Like Fantasy Flight, when they put out, the reprint editions, which is what I have. I have the same ones that you have.
Mhm.
They got the license rights from somewhere and printed the book. So, it is complicated, but here we are.
All right. There's a lot of comments here. Unfortunately, because I was doing the reading here, I was not able to go through this. So if you feel that your comment was really important and we skipped it, I'm sorry.
And I have a few that I scraped from chat.
Okay, if you've got a timestamp from them, like then I can put them up on the screen.
148 Grognard Piper.
Okay, well okay. So 348. Got it.
Oh.
I think we saw the same one.
The last, I think
this one right here. Yeah, we saw the same one.
He came in and he was talking about how he's running a Star Wars game. But yeah, so I like this one. The last session, one of the players used his force point to use a med kit to treat another player that had been mortally wounded.
Yeah.
I awarded him a bonus force point since it was to rescue another PC. Clearly, being heroic.
I agree with that completely. Yep.
So
good stuff.
10 minutes later from Walter MC, talking about time travel in Star Wars. Yes, you successfully travel in time. You find yourself on Alderaan as a new moon appears in the sky.
Nice.
Of course, there were a couple of Force jokes. Polyrobotics at just a minute later. Force equals mass times acceleration. Weird Guy 564. The Force is duct tape. It has a light side, a dark side, and it binds the universe together.
I think I said that, well, not the entire saying, but I think I said something to that effect at the beginning of the segment. Yes, I agree.
And at 2:05, I will be honest, I forget exactly what we were talking about, or 4:05, I guess. Kevin Sullivan, I know kind of what we were talking about, and I was thinking the exact same thing, but not Blackleaf, because we were talking about players, real life, all of that kind of blending. And I thought
I got one here. Eric Smith said the stormtroopers signed up for college benefits. Eric, did you play Star Wars with us? If you're still watching, I can't remember if you were in the games with us. I forget. Let's see. Already read that one. Thanks again, Jamal Gunn. Appreciate that information. Oops, was this? Wish you guys would go over Starship Modification Rules 2. I love the series. Thanks. Maybe that's something that I can pop into next year. This year, the only reason I even did this was because Heathen Dog's gone for 2 weeks.
Max, we did go over Starship Modification Rules. Because remember, we had the whole argument about spending skill points, and then you lose your ship.
I'm pretty sure that there's, again, and if it's second edition, not first edition, I apologize, but I know that there's first of all, there's a book out there of just starships. I know, because we used to page through it to figure out what we wanted to do for, like, YT1, oh, whatever the numbers are, so I'm sure it's in there. And if not, well, then, somebody obviously will correct me. And it could be on that D6 Holocron site as well. I don't have them because I never really collected this game. I didn't hate it. Everybody else always had the books. I didn't need it. So, but this would be something that maybe I can do next year. But for my parts, this year is already taken up. And Heathen Dog is, he's got to finish his AD&D second edition stuff when he comes back. But I hope to be around on this planet for many more years, doing many more videos like this or streams like this. So, that's definitely an option. So, and thank you for watching. Appreciate that. Let's see. A lot of Jedi stuff, a lot of Jedi, Jar Jar, okay. Boba Fett's taken out by a blind man on accident. Not better than a stormtrooper. Okay, no, fair. Well, he ran out of force points, or maybe that's when Han spent his force point.
I would say spent a force point.
Injin Joe says, take this book came out before the building of lightsaber lore, like the Kyber crystal or focus beam. That stuff was added later. These guys may have been the ones that actually came up with it in a follow book. I don't know when that came out, but remember, a lot, and I mean a lot, of Star Wars canon came from these books, from the Star Wars, the West End Games version of the game. So they may have come up with that in another book, or it just may have been something that came along later. I don't know.
Yeah, and remember also, just like this is one of those lore points when Lucas really started allowing for the novels to take off. Yeah, with the Timothy Zahn trilogy, the lore is they just took a collection of all of the Star Wars books that were out, sent it to Timothy Zahn, and said, "Here's your reference material beyond the movies." So at Gaming with ADHD, yes, you have to make 2 different roles to activate this power, a control roll and a sense roll. I thought you did. It's just, I never played Jedi because I never wanted to, and I couldn't remember for sure because I wanted to say, yeah, of course you do, but I was like, wait a second here. But yeah, after reading it, as you discovered, after reading it, like, yeah, you do have to make a roll for each one. Right.
Blah, blah, blah. What's this? I think Legion second edition was better because they had lightsaber combat as a power. Well, first edition had it in description for the powers list. It really is a power. There are parts about second edition I think I like better. Parts about first edition I definitely like better. Like I said, most of my experience is playing second edition. I keep acting like I played first edition. I don't even know if I actually played it. I know I played second edition. I recognize the first edition books. This is why I keep thinking I played it. But I cannot remember a time when I played without the wild die, though. I just want to remember a time I played without the wild die. So the thing is, the second, it was just, I paged through the second edition book a few months ago when I was coming up with this series last year, determining that we were going to do it this year. And I just thought there was way too much rules bloat in second edition. Like they tried to overcomplicate things or add in rules for things that didn't need to have rules added for it. Still the same basic system. But I was like, it's just, I don't know. It felt like there's too much rules bloat. So, but I mean, as far as lightsaber combat goes, I'd have to see it. But you're probably right. All right, and we got to the end of chat there. Whew. Real quickly before we end this. Oh my God, got 4 minutes. I made it for 4 minutes. I did not think that today was going to be this long. These 3 chapters were holy crap long.
It's probably because I was actually here and I talked too much.
No, not at all. Heathen Dog would have talked more. There were a couple times when I opened the door for you to talk, and you didn't, so I just kept going.
That's fair.
I mean, it was meant to be week 3 and week 4 when I did it originally, but since Heathen Dog wasn't here and I took over his time slot, I put week 3 and week 4 into today. The whole Force thing was supposed to be one entire week. That would have been my entire thing that I did. So for that day.
No, I think you covered pretty much everything for the game. I'd like, if I were watching, I would have liked to see more like the rest of the book, like some of the adventure stuff, So
we intentionally don't cover adventure stuff because we don't cover spoilers. That's something we've done going all the way back.
No. The part in the book where it talks about like how to run a Star Wars.
Yeah, we generally skip that stuff unless we're doing an actual particular thing like I'm going to be doing soon that covers Game Master material. I even skipped that stuff like when I did Newton Year Zero and so forth. We skipped most of the game mastery stuff unless it's definitely related directly to what's going on. But that's just a thematic choice that we made. Sure. I hear what you're saying. That's something we could always go back to. That could be good maybe for an overview or something at some point. But yeah, we tend to skip a lot of the game mastery stuff unless it's directly related to presenting the game to somebody. And we skip adventures because I don't care if it's been out for 40 years. You may not have played it, so I don't want to spoil it for somebody who,
Oh yeah, no, I can absolutely agree with not covering adventures. In my deep dives, I like covering the game mastery parts just because, somebody may want to just watch that particular series.
Mhm.
And so, okay, what are they talking about it? And also, I don't have the tons of experience running games, so it's nice to go through and see how different games approach it. So,
And this is what's awesome about the internet, folks. If you can't see the @gaming with ADHD on the screen there, he's got his own channel. He's got his own videos, and he's been doing some deep dives. What you did, Fake Earth on the first one, and then you're doing My Little Pony. So what was this? But you went through Eberron.
right, we did the Eberron campaign setting, just because that was more of a kind of a test bed because I hadn't done it before. I did the BattleTech Game of Armored Combat. We're currently doing My Little Pony, and then up next is Mech Warrior with you. So
Yeah,
I also rotate co-hosts.
When do you plan on starting that?
Probably probably in 2 weeks.
Okay. Just so give me like a week notice.
Yes, I'll give you at least a week notice.
And for Weird Guy out there, no, I don't have any other D6 games planned. The D6 thing has been mini D6 or micro tiny D6, whatever the heck it's called, has been a lot of people want me to cover it. It's something I do want to fit in at some point. I'd rather do just deep dive than an overview, but here's the thing, just so everybody knows what my schedule is like. People are always saying, you should do this game, you should do that game. I might not. It depends on if I want to do it as an overview or it's a deep dive. For deep dives, that bookshelf behind me is getting covered before I do anything else. And over half these bookshelves have not been covered yet. I still have all 4 Crawford games to do. Well, I know he's got more than that, but Stars Without Number, Cities Without Number, Ashes Without Number, and Worlds Without Number. That's something. I got Alternity to do, got Earthdawn to do. Now, hopefully we're going to hit Earthdawn this year. I'm going. So that's been the rule that I kind of made behind the scenes with Heathen Dog, that I'm covering every game that's up there before I really do anything else. So,
and how many do you have left?
Oh, Jesus. Just starting there. Let's see. Alternity, Atomic Punk, Battlelords. So I know we already covered 7th edition, but I might want to clean my palette and actually do 6th edition. The Genesis we've covered. Frontier Space, because it's got the best blurb at the beginning of a book of any book that I've ever read. Heavy Gear, of course, that's first edition. I probably won't cover that. I can't read. They got glare in there. Mutant Crawl Classics, Mind Jammer. That's just the top row that I haven't touched yet.
Just say a lot.
Yeah, well, but that gives people now. Mind Jammer would be interesting if I covered that, because it's actually a Fate Core game, or it's based on the Fate Core system, and I know that's going to make people feel ways about things.
I
hate the company behind Fate Core. Evil Hat really is an evil company, but Mind Jammer, I found it interesting as a game. So, anywho, So, anything you want to? Oh, I'm sorry, we're still in the video. Hold on. My God, we're doing this on the video side of it. So everybody, please like, subscribe, and share. Well, you got into a little bit of the meat there of the live stream. Completely forgot that I had to close out this video here. Appreciate Brian for showing up and assisting with this. It was a great fun time. Please check out his channel @Gaming with ADHD for some other deep dives, for miniature painting, for hangouts, for what else do you do over there?
All sorts of stuff related to tabletop games. It's
he's
called
got
Gaming with
interviews
ADHD
with Blaney
for a reason.
Pardo
And I'm bad at doing more of them, but yes, there will be more. I know I have to get Blaine and Brent back on the show. And Max apparently will come that day as well. But no, it again, all sorts of tabletop gaming content. Just come see what we have to share.
All right. Please like, subscribe, and share to both of our channels. And I can't wait to talk to you guys next week. I do not know what I'm covering next week. Heathen Dog will be back for AD&D 2nd edition. And I will probably have to do a Rifter because it's been a few weeks and we're required to do at least one a month. So there we go.